Hey YouTube! So, I did a video for this acoustic yesterday, and I changed my mind and decided not to put it up. A couple of reasons, but before I start talking all this rubbish, I'm basically going to talk about the guitar. This is a Washburn D32-S. Yes, so it's pretty fancy. It's an awful lot better than I thought it was. I bought this a couple of years ago and realised I didn't actually have any videos for it. So, made in Japan. It's got a maple. This is the sort of the maple model, so it's got a maple headstock veneer and a maple bird's eye maple back. I don't know if the fanciness of this is showing up in the video, but I mean it's pretty stunning looking. You know, maple back and sides, mahogany neck. We talk about, I'm not really that used to doing acoustics. I'm really going to start make a concerted effort to play acoustic a bit more, which is not difficult because I literally haven't really played acoustic apart from a couple of demos. I've had a few through that I've kind of done, you know, to sort of a fixed and sold type thing, but not actually really spent any time playing it. This is in the Washburn catalogue, or not the catalogue. I looked up the price list. I was trying to find out what year it was. There was always a bit of ambiguity about when it was from. I did decide it was definitely from Japan, since it's got the Made in Japan sticker on it, and the tuners, when I was giving it this deep clean, the tuners say Made in Japan on the back of them as well, so they're probably Goto. So it's got like a volute in the back there to stop the headstock snapping. I think that's pretty cool. It's just something about just to see the shape here. I mean, you can't see it when you're playing it, but I mean, but it's just very artistic. There's something I find very, very nice about that. I don't know what it is. Yeah, so this guitar, solid cedar top. I've got another one that I bought 6 months before this one, a D32. This is the 30. So, sorry, D30S, S for solid top. And the other one I've got basically looks almost identical from the front, apart from instead of having the maple on it, it's got macassar ebony, which is a pure crazy looking super grain stuff. And the neck on it, it's a sort of more of a sort of red stain, whereas this is a sort of dark. I mean, acoustics, generally I don't find them as, I'm going to say sexy, I don't find them as interesting to look at as electrics. You know, electrics are always crazy, you know, you get sort of mad colours and shapes and different pickups and all these different features, whereas an acoustic's kind of just a wooden box with a neck on it. But they do get quite fancy. This one's got this is a sort of Washburny type bridge. It's quite square, you see on a lot of Washburns. Yeah, as I was saying, I've kind of skipped past it on the looking up the price lists for it. The serial number on the inside starts with a 95. The serial number on these is in the block on the inside. It starts with 95, so I thought it might be 95. Looked it up and it's not in the 95 price list. Washburn does actually have an archive thing. So they had I worked my way back from there, so 95, 94, it's actually I wrote this down, what years it was available from. 94. The first time you find it going back the way is 94, and it's there in 94, 93, 92, 90, from 88. But 88 is the first year, the earliest year that the Washburn archives cover, so you might be able to get them slightly earlier than 88. So 88 to 94 basically for this model. They still make I think D12s, like this is the sort of the base model that I think they've always made, and it's like always gets top marks in all the reviews. It's basically the guitar, apart from maybe Yamaha, to go for. So because it starts 95, I'm thinking the 9 probably means 89. So maybe a 1989. And my pal reckons that it's a Suzuki, made in Japan by Suzuki. I don't know. They don't really keep documents for these things, so it's half the fun about the Mad Electric, the Japanese guitars. Just that I bought the not necessarily this one, but the one I bought before it, because I absolutely love the Japanese electric guitars, and from the 80s. So they did acoustics as well, so I should probably have one of them. Things I've noticed since I did the video yesterday, it's got 2 dots on the 7th fret, which is pretty cool. What I did notice, it doesn't have the 2 dots on the 12th fret on the end, which I would normally get on most guitars. So that's a wee bit different. Also, see the rosette is actually made of, I can't see the camera anymore, but it's made of it's like wood, lots and lots of layers of wood inlaid in, which is pretty cool. Not just like a sticker or anything like that. and it's also got like multi-binding. It's kind of like got extra wee bits on it, and I got noticed as well that that's a pretty cool looking sort of V-shaped whatever that bit's called. You can tell I'm not really an acoustic player. Yeah, so shape wise it's kind of odd looking. I think it's a sort of Gibson-y shape. Am I right there? It's not quite the your stand. Most like guitars this size are just a copy of the Martin something. This one's a wee bit rounder, so I think this might be a sort of Gibson-y acoustic. Kind of looks a bit more like this. The tortoiseshell scratch plate. Yeah. What else am I going to say about it? Where I start playing? It's got hand shaved bracing, which must be good. It does look. I mean, when you look inside acoustics, you can sort of see. You get a bit more of a hint of the quality. It's like you can see this one's it looks more expensive on the inside, but more to the point, it's like I have not been playing acoustic, as I said, and any time I have been playing acoustic, I've been playing like I've built a couple of guitars that have got like a piezo bridge in them, like an electric guitar with a piezo bridge, and you can struggle and go, oh, it sounds just like an acoustic. It kind of doesn't. Well, it does sort of. Maybe if you're playing through a PA or you're in a band mix, but when you've actually got like a proper full size acoustic, especially like a good one like this, these were, I looked them up. The list price was like $800 for one of these. I couldn't find the UK what it was in pounds, but I don't know how that works. Depends on exchange rates. Maybe about 400 or 500 quid, something 500 quid maybe, something like that. I don't know. I think guitars were generally cheaper in America to start with, so maybe even more than that. Yeah, so I'm kind of out of practice on acoustic. I did a video yesterday, as I said there, and actually got hit with a copyright strike for the first time, like on my own. Every time I'm in a Black Sabbath band, which I'm after the end, and I upload, I record some of our rehearsals just for the band to sort of watch back. I put them on YouTube, but they're unlisted, and I get a copyright strike for every song we do, obviously. But normally when I play covers and stuff like that, I must not be good must not be close enough for the automatic thing that senses these things to pick it up. So I played a few songs. I played some of the Easy Rider soundtrack, The Weight, and Wasn't Born to Follow by the Byrds, and I played Take It Easy by the Eagles, and I got a copyright hit for that. So that kind of made me go, oh, for like 20 seconds of my video, I had to share the revenue from the ad. But then I started thinking, I've not really spent enough time playing acoustic anyway. I'm not going to be that much better today. I was playing this all last night. But my other point was, I've always said about guitars, I keep buying. Most of the ones I buy are sort of have been unloved for a decade or whatever. So even if they do work, they've not been played. And after you've played it for a few hours, everything vibrates and tightens up and gets used to being a guitar again, and just sounds better after a couple of hours play. I think that's doubly, trebly more so with an acoustic, because obviously all this stuff vibrates and stuff. So the more you play it, all the dust and things that haven't been touched vibrates free, and it just sounds better and better. So in a couple of weeks' time, this is going to sound fantastic. Well, it sounds fantastic already. I didn't even do a video for this because I had, as I said, the other one, the 32, which, I mean, I can't remember what it looks like, but I always thought it looked much better than this one. It's like, how could it look better than that pure amazing maple? But this is the only real difference was, apart from the maple, and instead of being maple, so this has also got a much bigger sound hole than the other one, which is maybe something to do with maple being brighter, so it needs a bigger sound hole to produce more bass. Something like that. I'm sure somebody's thought about it. I found an excellent photo on YouTube and Google Images the other day of the two of them, because they were both sort of the same range. I can't remember what they called them, and it was like two of them sitting on a railway track, like a Washburn magazine advert, and I had the two of them sitting next to each other. So it's like the perfect pair. And the reason I looked this out is because my pal Alan has been asking me for the last month or two, you got any acoustics? And I was like, yeah, I've got a Washburn I never play, I've got two of them, blah blah blah, and I could maybe sell one of them. I'm sorry, it's not getting sold. It's much better than I thought it was. One of the reasons for that is, I mean, that must be maybe 3 years ago I bought this, and the strings were pretty knackered, and then when I cleaned it up, did a wee bit of fretwork, and basically just polished the whole thing which makes a huge difference on acoustic guitars as well. By the way, if you've got an acoustic guitar that's pretty dirty, because all these things vibrate, making it really clean makes it louder and sound much better. It's like your freshly cleaned car goes faster. I think it actually does make it louder and play better though. Sorry if that beeped on your screen. I should probably have that turned off so you don't get the reflection. Yeah, so keep your acoustic clean, put new strings on it. The strings that were on it had mad knots on the headstock, which really implies that I never actually changed the strings when I got it. So when I did my sort of comparisons about this one not being as good as the 32, it would have had new strings on it and this would have had old strings on it. And if you've got two things that are sort of similar and one of them's got strings that are dead, years old, and one's got new strings, it's not a fair comparison. So, be interesting. But the difference here, volume-wise, is ridiculous between this and the only acoustics I've played maybe this year or in the last couple of years is just a couple of weeks ago. I had a Yamaha APX, which is a sort of small-bodied acoustic, and I've got the Teleacoustic, and this does things that neither of those two do really. It's just so loud and rocking. As I said, I'm going to consciously sit and learn because I can't really play acoustic. I'm just really playing electric on acoustic rather than actually playing acoustic guitar. I need to get some finger picking. I want to be able to do this the accompany yourself thing. I can play roughly. I used to be able to play one. See, I can't even remember how to play the one thing that I used to be able to play. Also a huge dynamic range in acoustics, and I always think that I've said many times I've played kind of bass and guitar. I've always played bass, bass and mostly electric guitar. I've not really played acoustic for a decade. When you play the bass, and especially when you're learning, if you're learning, you play the bass and then you play the guitar. Everything you learn on the bass, you can sort of apply to the guitar. So by learning the bass, you get better on the guitar, and the same way around. If you're learning something new on the guitar, when you go into the bass, maybe it just gives you a slightly different approach and you improve on both by doing that. And I think that's going to happen with me in acoustic as well, where I now am getting much better on electric guitar in the last year from playing the guitar every day. If I could maybe just learn how to play this a bit more, because I'm kind of at a 10-year ago level on an acoustic guitar. But it's just when you absolutely batter it. I'm not going to play any covers because I got the copyright strike yesterday, so that video never went live. So and also I'm going to run through. I've got 4 acoustics. So I've got this one, 32. I've got a Yamaha, my first one that I bought on my 18th birthday, and a 12-string Yamaha, which I bought, never really used either. That's what happens. It's my Yamaha suffer from it. My first guitar suffers from this because acoustics sound so great when you're battering out open chords. Fret damage here, so fret dinkage. I've got a resonator as well. This one was the same. I think all acoustics are. So I sorted out the fret scenes. I can now do that. I think that it's maybe just edged up, which is why I'm loving it so much just now. It's pretty much flawless. It does have a bit of a scratch on it, which you can't really see, which is fine. But I think that's something to do with the cedar tops are quite thin. Normally acoustics are spruce. This is cedar. So I'm sure that makes a difference. I think that the tone wood argument is an awful lot stronger on acoustic guitars than it is on electric guitars. I'm kind of not really... So some say I'm tone wood agnostic, whereas I sort of think maybe it does make a difference, but I don't know. It could be. There's something. I'm not going to say that yes on an electric guitar it does make a huge difference, because there's so much more involved in it, how well it's put together, what scale length, and you know, weight, pickups, hardware, strings, all these things all affect it. Whereas in acoustic, there's really only strings, I think. So it's not electric, and it's not an electroacoustic. In fact, it doesn't even have a strap button. I don't know whether I'm going to put one on it. Kind of like it. Keeping the guy actually bought this off used to play. Said it's a very loud guitar. He used to do gigs, and if it was just a small gig, he would just play, and there was no PA. He would just play this acoustically and just batter it. I think he said he played with a choir. So I mean, it shows you how loud it must be. It won't come through in the video just how loud and springy. But the thing about the acoustic guitar, it's that you can play it, you know, quite softly. It sounds fine, but if you, it's got a real pa-chang. So I don't get copyright struck from him. So as I said, it's not electrified. So kind of I'm struggling a little bit with what to do with it. So what I did was I've got this mic, which is it's an AKG mic. If anyone can remember which sci-fi film I saw a couple of years ago, it was a relatively modern one, and it's set in space. It's on a spaceship, and most of the thing there's a guy talking in a mic in the spaceship, and it's this mic he's got. It's an AKG made in Austria, D950. I actually use it like a gooseneck one. I stuck it to this. It was part of the. We used to have an excavator, a digger, and this was in the trailer. It's just a piece of wrought iron. I used that as a sort of stand, and it actually works pretty well. I actually use it when I'm down in a pal studio to mic up the wee Laney, because it's quite good, because you can just, you know, you just stick the amp on top of it, and there you go. It's mic'd. No point in having anything else. So what I've done is my Jamman stereo pedal's got a mic input. I built a switch last night which basically just turns the mic on and off. So if I turn that on and it's coming through the bass amp, okay, a little bit feedbacky, it's coming through that bass amp. So I should be able to put a backing track in. Maybe if I turn the volume down a bit when I'm recording it. Yeah, so I'll stick a wee backing track in so I can do some soloing over the top. Something simple like that. I think it sounded better than that. It's all to do with mic placement, isn't it? If I hadn't taken it off the wall to show you, it would have got better sound. So we kind of point it sort of roughly at the sound tool. Why is it feeding back when it wasn't feeding back earlier? That's annoying. Right. Why can I hear a... I accidentally stopped in the drum pedal. Right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's still feeding back. What a total failure. Oh no, hold on. That's because I've still got the mic on. Obviously not perfect playing through a bass amp, but there you go. So at least I've got a backing track to play along with. Well, that was loud. There's also an element which you can't do an electric guitar of. There's an awful lot of subtleties in an acoustic guitar playing I've been totally missing. That's like playing over the sound tool makes a huge difference. As opposed to... Okay, you can't finger tap. Try on. I think you probably can if you're much stronger, much better at it than I am. Yeah, so I am going to be doing, for the next month or so, I'm going to be playing an awful lot more acoustic. I'm going to consciously forced myself to play an awful lot more acoustic. The thing actually I was noticing when I was playing last night, when you're watching telly, acoustics are much louder, so when you're playing away with acoustic you can't hear the telly. So that's maybe one of the reasons I kind of gravitated more towards playing electric guitar. Although I play quite loud sometimes, I do quite often play really quietly. Or I could maybe learn to play a little bit more subtly in the acoustic. I mean, you just hit the strings really softly to make it quiet, I suppose. I feel myself actually getting better on it, even just in the 10 minutes I've been playing there. So many more things I'd never really considered. I mean, just because I'm a decade behind on acoustic opposed to electric, but the whole getting a sort of, if you want a neck pickup sort of sound, if you just strum here, play there, that's more necky than, there's your bridge pickup. Also, I'm looking for, one of the reasons I did this is because I bought cheap acoustic strings. Actually, I said this when I was talking about the Yamaha APX last week. I bought that guitar thinking, I'll get a set of strings sitting in front of my telly that have been there for 6 months. I'll use them. A set of these, which are really cheap Tico guitar strings. These are 11s, which is what I like on an acoustic. And they're actually pretty good. They're really cheap. I've been buying Roto Sounds and electric, and you buy 3 packs of them. So I think actually you might get acoustic ones as well. Yeah, so it took me a week to get the Yamaha APX up and running because the packet of strings that I saw was just an empty packet like this is. And then obviously once I'd bought more strings, I was rummaging about over there and I found another packet. So I did have a packet of them. It's just that the packet I was looking at it was an empty packet. So the trick there is put them in the bin, or don't leave them lying about so you think you've got a full set of strings when you don't actually have a full set of strings kicking about. So I'm going to do the fretwork on my original Yamaha at some point in the next week or so that I can hear my drummer pedal coming through the amp there. It's because it's actually right next to the mic on off switch that I just made. But this is, this isn't going to be long enough to show you. No, it's not just connected. Right. Take it out. Yeah, so this jam pedal has a mic input on it, and here's the pedal I made. So it's a back box from like a wall socket or a light switch, and it's just a switch and an XLR lead, and that's basically all it is. So that just basically turns on and off my mic, which is a handy thing, otherwise it just stays on. Yeah, technical things just make these things. Also, see, I've got a Blitzkrieg t-shirt now. Blitzkrieg's actually making t-shirts, so there might be a run of MADMALKO t-shirts coming that are much cheaper and made in Glasgow. It says made in Glasgow in the back of the label, so I kind of like that an awful lot better than the Zazo one, which I kind of stopped promoting because it turned out to be awful expensive, and I wasn't making very much money from them at all, considering how expensive those t-shirts were. Whereas these should be pretty good, and they look good quality. Just instead of saying Blitzkrieg, it'll say MADMALKO guitars. The guys, a lovely girl who does the computery stuff, has got my logo pure nailed. So they might be coming. What he said was I should try and get some orders for sizes. This is an XL, which I'm getting a bit fat just now. So I mean, this size suits me, but so I don't know what size you are. If you want one ordered, I don't think it's not. This isn't level, but I don't think it's meant to be. I think it's meant to be at a jaunty angle. I very rarely wear black t-shirts these days, and they do have the MADMALKO pink one. They've got that exact colour. So I actually asked for this. This is a sort of sample, or it's a promotional item. I said I would wear it in the videos. So go and see Blitzkrieg shop, which is now open again, or once this whole thing's over. So expect to see one day a week I will have my original Yamaha FG411S, I believe it was called, which I bought on my 18th birthday, which has got knackered frets with new strings. I put electrics in it. It's got like an RTEC system. You know, it's got like an EQ and a preamp. It's got an undersaddle piezo, and it's also got a mic, kind of actually sort of like a gooseneck mic, not as big as that, like a wee mic on the inside. You can mix between the two for electronic electrification. And I've got my 12 string, which has got a similar sort of thing. In fact, it's actually got a 3-band RTEC thing, so it's got like a magnetic pickup that sits in the sound hole, and a mic on the inside, and a piezo. But I took I've still got it. Where is it? I saw it recently, so I'll maybe put that back in. But what I find is, see when you stick a pickup in the sound hole, it's like, I don't know, like one of those Seymour Duncan Woodies. It's maybe about that size. It drastically reduces the amount of sound that comes out the guitar, like acoustically, because this is where the sound comes out. So if you cover up the sound hole, you know, if I covered up half the sound hole, half the sound comes out. So it's like, I didn't like it. I took the actual magnetic pickup out and never really used it. Still got the mic on the inside and the thingy, so I can maybe use it for recording or gigging if I ever get there. And then I will also dig out my D32, which I was always a bit against this one. I never really got into it, never even did a video for it, because the 32 just seemed to be so much better. But so I'm going to kind of wait a while before I do it, and then I'll do a comparison video when they both get the same strings on it, both in tune, both clean, and see if there is actually a difference between a maple back and sides, the same cedar top and the same era. I'm not sure exactly what year it is. I need to look out, because I never found out what year it was before. I never understood the serial number, so I assume the 32's got a similar serial number, so it might be the same year or within a couple of years. Exactly the same shape, same cedar top, still a Washburn, apart from instead of the maple veneer and the maple back and sides, it's Macassar ebony. So I need to give the two of them a bit of a run and see if there's any difference. See what the difference is between each one. So that's me got like, what was it, 4 or 5 videos I'll set up, and all during that I'm going to learn how to play acoustic. So hopefully you'll see over the next month or something, when I'm putting out one of these a week, me getting much better at acoustic, because I'm very, very much learning. I mean, whenever I played acoustic, I always just played battered open chords because they sounded great. And so what I'm doing there when I'm putting on the backing track is kind of just playing electric guitar on an acoustic. I need to learn a bit more. I want to be able to play chords up here. You know, I always played the D shape one. Know what these chords actually are. I mean, I know that's just it's an A minor. No, it's not. It's that's an A minor. There's an A. See, and that's how much I know about chords, which is shocking, and I need to learn how to be able to, so without even thinking about it, I can just go, oh, it's just C and D, and I can just go and play, you know, these chords, rather than just not really knowing what they are. Turned out to be a pretty long video, 35 minutes. So there you go, acoustic starting up. Hopefully I'm going to be able to learn to play acoustic properly, like an acoustic, and quite confident I think. It's like I've now seemed to have the ability to be able to bend strings, which I don't think I could ever really do in an acoustic before. That might be something to do with being in the Black Sabbath band playing bass, because quite a lot of the Black Sabbath stuff you're bending bass strings, so, and just a pure strength of fingers and commitment and will to do it. It's just the EAD G string that's a little bit thick, because it's wound in an acoustic, whereas in electric it's not wound. So you can bend the B and the E. Alright, but there's a bit of a fight to bend that G. Sorry. So acoustics, maybe I've been too harsh, always saying acoustics were for the lightweights and the slightly effeminate people, whereas maybe there is something in being a bit more, I should be a bit more embracing of it. And I definitely think it'll make me better on the bass and the electric guitar if I can nail a bit of, I'd love to be able to do, I want to be able to do some, you know, the two part on one guitar thing, which I can't do at all. Rock on!